But like those guys have their own style.
BTS is back and we got Diplo here to talk all about it.
Diplo, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
This is awesome. We have to talk about BTS and their new #1 album, Arirang. You are all over this album. You produced a lot of it. What was your experience like working with them?
I'm telling you, they're very hands-on. I think every artist has a writing credit. I think RM has credit on every song, but they wrote basically a piece of every record on the record. They had like their ideas and their concepts and had a big list of who they wanted to work with and different sounds, and some was very surprising to me. They really wanted Guincho, they really wanted Dougie F, they wanted JPEG Mafia, which was very like, whoa, you know. They had a lot of ideas. One of my jobs was just kind of like figure out how to make all of it work. Started this project November 2024 when I met with Mr. Bang and at the time Scooter Braun and Coach K, who were all part of like Hive International. And they were like, hey, do you want to help kind of be creative on this record and think of how we can make something to come back and be just literally unique? Because everybody's going to expect Butter and Dynamite and those big records that they do. But before that, if you're like a real BTS fan, they were very rap-oriented and very cutting edge. K-pop's always been super cutting edge with production. They're coming from Korea, taking pieces of culture that they like and this and that, and putting like a pastiche together, and it became kind of like a language of all music these days. When they came back together, they were gone for 4 years. They were in the Army and they were on their own doing solo records. I'm not sure what their life was like before the Army, but they were a really tight-knit group. They had probably the biggest fan base on earth. So when they came back, they're like, we can't just do what people expect. We're grown men, and we want to do something very unique. The whole team at Hype had this vision of what Arirang was. I didn't understand exactly the song. As I saw the rollout, I started to really understand what Arirang was and the story behind it. And I was like, wow, this is powerful. It's very big. I see all these TikToks and Twitters and Instagram stories now about what it means to Korean people and Korean Americans and Koreans in general, and I think they really came back with like, we are who we are. Because people have all these opinions, they're so huge that everybody has an opinion about them, but they're like, we want to do what we want to do, and we want to also give people like every kind of music that we love. That's the hard part of being a producer, is to make that make sense. Each guy was like, this is what I'm good at. Suga was in there with the guitar every day, playing guitar. Jungkook leans more R&B and dance, and RM probably the best English speaker, so he's like very much in the mix, telling us like exactly what they love, what they're into. All the guys together was probably like fire. They dance like they're perfect. So they want to dance, they want to make records that they can do live. That's kind of like their vision, because they're playing 5 million stadium shows this year. I think that they know exactly what works, what their fans like. I think their fans will follow them anywhere because they're really good at what they do.
What's your history with K-pop in particular, since as a producer you probably saw on the cutting edge of it? When did you first get into it? Who are some of the artists that really got you inspired to that? And what are you learning from that culture that, you know, has helped your own career?
Gangnam Style came out. That was like, what? This is crazy. That was the biggest record of all. I was like, okay, this is different than, I don't know what's going on anymore. This is just crazy. It's like a take over the world type of thing. That was a mix of that sort of David Guetta kind of early EDM world. It was like, those guys really took it and made a humongous record for the world. And it's in Korean. And we are all dancing to that song in America. Working with Jenny on her album, and we made a record called, I worked with her in the studio just for like a couple weeks, just trying to figure out, because the Blackpink ladies all went solo and they had to find their vision and their identity. So I just made a record that I thought would be cutting edge for her and that you could dance to, and that became a really big record. In fact, I was doing some BTS work and I went to Korea to meet the team, had a night off, and I just went back to meet Teddy, who works with YG and Black Label, really late night, and I played him a demo I had, a Major Lazer song, and it ended up becoming Jump, the Blackpink single. I was like all during the BTS sessions. I just was like, let me just try to go to Korea and see what's going on. I always feel like Koreans in K-pop in general are very progressive. They'll take chances. They love to be crazy, heavy, because they can always negotiate what the pop aspects are. I'm more of a producer. How do I make the most outrageous music and make it make sense? I would never be able to predict nowadays what the number ones are going to be. Personality. That's what matters the most. And if you have a personality, a story, like have this personality that people want to gravitate to. If you're an artist that you want people to invest in you as a person, that is the best thing you can have. If you just have a fan base and people that are like, I want to go wherever you go. Dude, they knew everything. JPEG Mafia was the thing that they really wanted more than anything, so we got them in there because they were such big fans of that. Because they hear the music, they feel it, they're like, how do we move to this? And that's important, because if you're in a studio, you don't have people like, music can be great. If you can't like actually just think about being on stage with it, it doesn't work. So those guys know right away if it's gonna work or not. But they know everything. They're always like, this is the instrument in Korea we use. I had to go download a freaking sound library. I was like, what is this stuff? Like, they were really direct on like what they wanted, what the vision was, and I was just like there to like facilitate.
Shout out to them, like musical encyclopedias out here.
I know a lot about music, but they know a lot more too, so they're music nerds at the end of the day.
It sounds like y'all were nerding out together.
Being in the studio is not that sexy. The team is like, that sounds more like a J-Hope song. That more sounds like a Jimin song. So those guys have their own style. So a lot of the records didn't make it because they're too similar to what they do independently, so I think what the album sounds like is them together, like Voltron. So a lot of records where we were like, maybe that's more his song. Maybe it was his song. So the ones that we all chose were kind of like their songs. So that was kind of key. I didn't understand all their styles. But by the end of it, I did. But in the beginning, I didn't know like what really separates them as solo artists. They had like a real direct, like this is more my style. This is more our band style. I remember Armin, we were like in the studio trying to think of like, what's the concept for this song? And he was just like, had his head in his hand. He was like, I just feel like I'm back in jail again. I'm just here stuck in the studio still writing records. I'm just like, what are we talking about? It's like we're back in the army. So we started a record like, we're in jail. We were kind of running out of ideas. We were like 8 songs deep at that point. I think the first 2 weeks were like the best. We got most of the record done then. Mike Will kind of came in there and gave us something we didn't have though. He was really strong and he just kind of came in with like with the phone. Here's the beats, and then those records are the hard ones. Those are like the kind of classic BTS records, the straight hip hop records.